truth is finally here. Hi everyone, Marty Runick from Gun PDR Training here. This dent should be of interest not just to paintless dent repair techs, but to body shop techs also. Here's a major Audi or a reverse dent on a Subaru hood done by a mechanic. Used to be one of my big accounts. Flipped out when he did this, so we're gonna make it look good for him. You can see the hood's scratched, so it's not not one of your high-end cars, but he doesn't want to have to pay for a new hood, and I don't blame him. So we're gonna see if we can help him out here. As you can see, this is a bad one, formed by not an impact socket. It looks like a thin wall socket, but you can tell it's a 3-foot long reflection, and it eats up a lot of it. It's a good-sized Audi there. Not the worst I've ever done, but not the easiest either. Okay, these are the tools we're going to use for this repair. We have a flexible rubber sanding block. And a Lisle hood prop rod. Most of you guys have one of these in your toolkit. And 2 polished metal knockdowns, a medium and a quite a bit sharper one, highly polished. Now we're dealing with quite a bit of stretched metal here, so plastic knockdowns would not work. We need the polished metal to shock and drive that metal down. And we're also going to use a heat gun for this. We have to because the paint was not in that great a condition to begin with, and there are some areas that look like it's about to split. So the heat will keep that from happening, and we'll use about 110 degrees. That should work fine, and that's not hot enough to where these polished metal knockdowns should divot our paint too badly. Okay guys, so what we need to make this repair happen is a flexible shock absorber / dolly. And this flexible rubber sanding block will fit the bill. So what we're going to do is put the center of the block under the center of that Audi, like that. Okay, then we're going to take a Lisle hood prop rod and put that under the center of the dolly, so that the center of that Lisle hood prop rod now will be under the center of that impact point, separated by that flexible dolly. And we got to have a lot of pressure on that block, so we shouldn't be able to twist that block at all. Still twist it too much, a little more pressure. See what that's like. That's feeling pretty good. I think we're all right. So the center of that hood prop rod is directly underneath the center of our Audi. Okay, next we're going to check to make sure that the center of that hood prop rod really is under the center of that Audi. And we do that by putting a socket right in the center of the Audi, side up and down it. It's right in line with our hood prop rod, and we're going to do this from 2 90-degree directions just to make sure that we're centered there. If it's off-center, guys, it won't do nearly as good a job as it will if it is centered. Okay, so this is what the setup looks like now. Obviously, we had to take the hood off the car because that Audi was right in the middle towards the glass, and my arms just aren't long enough. So that's what our combination shock absorber and dolly should look like before we start tapping. Okay, we're about ready to start here, fellas, and one of the first things you'll notice is when we put our finishing light up over here, you'll notice that the dent doesn't look anywhere nearly as deep. It's because you get a nice reflection over the dent and we see detail on top of it. And that's what we want. We don't care about how big the dent looks. We want to see detail on top of that Audi. Okay. You'll notice also very, very tight metal now because that rubber sanding block is under there, keeping it very, very tight. So we don't want to hit too hard with either one of our tap downs here. Either one of these, if we go too hard, we're going to put a divot in there that we may not be able to recover from. So we got to go very, very light. Just kissing the tap down is all we're doing. And if we could use a Delrin tap down, it'd be the same. We'd just be kissing it. And the reason I'm using metal instead of Delrin, the metal will just shock the metal and it'll gather it up more than Delrin would. Delrin will actually make a bigger mess, believe it or not, than a metal tap down would on something this bad. And you'll also notice we have a double impact on this socket dent. Didn't notice that with the other light. Put our heat on first, about 110. I think we're about ready. Let's try out. Now fellas, you'll notice that I am barely hitting that tap down, and you'll notice the panel isn't flexing at all. It's just like a rock. So 100% of the energy of that tap down is going right on that high spot, shrinking up some of the metal and driving it at the same time. Delrin wouldn't do this good. Yes, we are going to make some divots with this, can't help that, but those will color sand out. They'll be fairly light. We've done our first round. Okay, now we're going to fix that secondary impact. Right over here, we took a secondary impact. Must have hit twice for whatever reason. We didn't see that in the original reflection, but the starter reflection shows it. And you're also looking at this from a totally different view than what I'm looking at it. My reflection board's about 45 degrees from where you're looking at. I have to do that so the camera angle could be right. So that means I'll be fixing a couple things that you won't see, and I'll be leaving a couple things that you will see. Now, fellas, you might imagine by now, if we didn't have that flexible rubber sanding block underneath, this whole thing would have to be driven into a real big dent. And then we'd have to fix the dent, which is the standard way most people do these, and that's why they make such a mess. Much, much quicker and more efficient this way. And I think we're about out of the woods as far as damaging our paint is concerned. Those spots that I mentioned where the socket really spread the paint open, it looks like we're going to be just fine there. I was a little bit worried about the paint giving us an issue, but the heat, I think the heat handled that. If we'd gone with too much hotter than the 110 temperature, we would have made those divots much worse. 110 is about the ideal temp. Now, another issue we were worried about here was the possibility of an oil can, because this is a fairly flat area of the panel, and something this stretched could very definitely give us an issue with oil canning. Remember, guys, oil canning is not just from dents. From the bottom, it can happen from a reverse dent also. Stretch metal is stretch metal, either way. So that's what's nice about the metal knockdowns. They gather up far, far more metal than a plastic knockdown could ever hope to. So I'm not saying it completely eliminates the possibility of an oil can, but it comes close. And of course, guys, like so many other techniques we've shown you, patience and accuracy, pretty much the key. You get in a hurry on one of these, you can really, really screw the pooch very badly. I made a minor little divot there, but no big deal. We're going to take our rubber block off here, so we can get underneath and take that rubber block off totally now and see where we're at. Okay, the rubber block is gone. We've got it out of there. Take my other one away, and then we're going to lift this up just a little bit. We're going to take our heat gun off now. We're done with it. Okay, our heat is off the panel now, and the rubber sanding block is no longer there, so we don't have any support underneath this. And there's no more chance of a oil can as far as I'm concerned, so we're going to start using a sharp plastic knockdown here. It's just a few hits. It's a judgment call here. I think it'll work a little bit better. You notice how the metal's flexing a lot more, of course, because we don't have any more support on it. That's all right at this point. Okay, so we're going to go in there with a tool now. And we're going to use a needle tip for this, sharpest tool we've got. That'll help us to gather up some more metal. I'm going to put a small over push right here. So we got a weak spot in the metal there, so I'm going to use that to both make an artificial gathering spot. See how tight my metal is? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. And fellas, notice how much harder we have to hit when that panel is not supported by that rubber dolly. Alrighty, just a little bit of color sanding here. .2500 grit. Takes it off very slowly. Maybe just a tick more. Okay, still a few pock marks in that paint, which we really couldn't help. We're using a metal knockdown, so a little more color sanding. Okay, we'll see what that looks like in the overhead. Okay, here's the overhead fluorescent view. That's the view the guy's going to look at it in the shop. Promised him 95%. That's 98%. Again, that hood is in pretty bad shape as far as scratches and everything goes. It's just to get the mechanic out of trouble with the customer. Okay, fellas, here's how we set up if the hood is on the vehicle. Put a tie-down strap right there, and of course your hood prop rod with your flexible rubber sanding block there, and the foot of the prop is on some stable point of the engine or chassis, and you simply put enough tension on this rope to put that block in very tightly so you can't twist it at all. Shouldn't be able to twist that block at all. Of course, you don't want to make it so tight that you buckle the panel, of course. Okay, another thing that can happen sometimes is somebody will put a buffer or something on top of the engine, slam the hood, and it'll hit that brace and hit so hard that it'll bend the brace and put some really nasty creases from the edge of this brace into the panel, along with some nasty marks from the glue. Most people just assume you have to get a new hood when that happens. Not necessarily true at all. I fix these quite often, actually, and next time I do, we'll make a video of it and show you my technique for fixing those. Now, some of you may be thinking, why should I bother doing these? I'd just rather be a cherry picker. Well, there's too many of them already. And guys, if you're going to get and keep good accounts of body shops, stereo installers, mechanics, especially European mechanics, they all do this. Any automotive service related business does this, constantly putting Audis in hoods or doors or quarter panels. And when they do that, they think, oh my gosh, a hood, for instance, well, I got to buy the customer a new hood. You bail them out and you glass something like this out, and they're going to be your best friends for life. They're going to refer you lots of work, and you will never lose the account, I can guarantee you. So yes, guys, you do need to be able to do stuff like this, especially today with the amount of cherry pickers and hacks out there. You have to differentiate yourself, guys, and set yourself above the crowd. Well, if you learned something, guys, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel and hit the like button, and we'll see you next time.